What if ancient wisdom, like really old wisdom, held the blueprint for success in today's world? An incredibly complex world.
Yeah.
What if some forgotten master, someone from centuries ago, could give us surprisingly relevant shortcuts for navigating politics, relationships, even, I don't know, finding some inner peace?
Yeah, that's exactly the question we're diving into today. We're exploring the profound principles of one of India's most insightful thinkers, Acharya Chanakya.
Right. And his timeless work, Chanakya Neeti.
Precisely.
And for this deep dive, our source is Sampurna Chanakya Neeti by Acharya Chanakya, published by Raja Pocket Books back in 2012. It's basically a big compilation of his strategies, his insights.
It pulls it all together.
Yeah. So our mission really is to pull out the most potent nuggets of knowledge from this amazing historical text to try and understand the mind behind these powerful ideas.
See how they apply today.
Exactly. And uncover the lessons that are, surprisingly applicable for you, the modern learner. We'll look at everything statecraft, personal conduct, and really highlight why his words still hit home centuries later. Okay, let's unpack this.
Okay, so to really get Chanakya Neeti, you first need to understand the man himself, the mastermind behind it all.
Right. Who was Acharya Chanakya?
Well, he was this world-renowned historical figure, a teacher actually at the famous Nalanda University way back around the 4th century BCE.
Wow, Nalanda. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he wasn't just like an academic locked away somewhere. He was a revolutionary thinker, an enlightened politician, really, a person with incredible foresight and just a super sharp intellect.
It's amazing the breadth of what he did. He wasn't just one thing.
Not at all. Beyond those roles, he was also known as Kautilya. That name hints at his strategic genius, his often kutil or clever politics.
Okay. Kautilya.
And also Vishnugupta. Some think that was his father's name. Others link it to him writing the Shastra, that famous text.
The Shastra, right? Big deal.
Huge. But see, he was even more than an economist and political strategist. He was a deep scholar of various Shastras, the ancient Indian texts, covering everything from science to philosophy.
So a real polymath.
Absolutely. Skilled diplomat, even a warrior, he kind of did it all.
Incredible.
And his impact, you can't really overstate it. His grand vision came from a really critical moment in history.
Okay, what was happening then?
So, 4th century BCE India, it was fragmented, lots of small, self-interested states, kingdoms, really, and that made them super vulnerable to foreign invaders.
Makes sense. Divided, they fall kind of thing.
Exactly. And Chanakya was basically the first to really pinpoint this lack of national unity as the core problem.
That's a huge challenge to even identify, let alone tackle. So how did he even start? With everything so fragmented, pushing for unity? It sounds almost impossible.
It really does.
Some people even compare his role in integrating India to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel in modern times. Is that like a fair comparison? In terms of scale?
I think it's a pretty apt comparison, yeah. In terms of the sheer ambition and, pulling it off, Chanakya made the impossible possible, as the source puts it.
How so?
He spearheaded the defeat of powerful foreign attackers, resisting forces like Alexander the Great's, for instance.
Wow.
And he laid the foundation for a unified India under Chandragupta Maurya.
The Maurya Empire, right?
Exactly. And this unification kicked off a period where, it's quite remarkable, no foreign invader really dared to attack.
That's stability.
For sure. And the source emphasizes that his whole life's purpose ultimately was public welfare, establishing a strong, stable foundation for how things should be run. It really speaks to his vision.
What a legacy. But okay, beyond building nations, Chanakya also gave us this powerful blueprint for, our individual lives.
He absolutely did.
So let's pivot now from grand strategy to the really personal stuff, the heart of Chanakya Neeti. His principles for navigating, people, human nature, relationships. And he starts with a pretty direct warning, doesn't he?
He really does. Extreme caution. That's the starting point, especially with those closest to you.
Like who?
He warns against, and this is a direct quote, wicked wives, deceitful friends, arrogant servants, and houses with snakes.
Houses with snakes, literally.
Well, probably metaphorically.
Yeah.
The snake in the house, it's this chilling metaphor for hidden enemies, people inside your trusted circle who could harm you.
That still feels relevant today, unfortunately.
Very much so. And he didn't just say, be cautious. He gave practical advice on how to test people.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
He outlined specific situations, like test servants when you send them out on a task, test brothers or relatives when you're in a crisis.
Okay.
test friends when there's danger, and test your wife when money is lost.
Wow, very specific test.
Yeah, he's basically saying true friends are the ones who stick by you through the tough times, through sorrow and misfortune. That's the real measure of loyalty.
A timeless test, really.
And his take on trust, it's surprisingly pragmatic, maybe even a bit cynical to modern ears.
Oh, so.
He advises never revealing your full plans, especially not to a friend who might, turn into an enemy later and spill your secrets.
Ooh, okay.
He says your intentions should be kept secret like a mantra.
Secret like a mantra. I like that.
It's not just about being secretive, though. It's a deep insight into, strategic vulnerability.
Yeah.
Think about it. We live in a world obsessed with transparency, right? Sharing everything. Chanakya reminds us that sometimes your biggest strength is what you don't say.
It gives you flexibility. Protects you.
Exactly. It allows you to adapt, protects your leverage. It's about knowing the difference between, say, real collaboration and just maintaining your strategic advantage.
So keep your cards close to your chest. Got it. What about marriage? Did he have principles for that too?
Oh, yes. Very clear principles. He advises marrying for character, for virtue, someone from a good family, not just based on looks.
Okay, character over beauty.
Right. He even specifically warns that marrying a beautiful woman from what he calls a low family can bring sorrow.
That definitely reflects a different time, different priorities than maybe we have today.
For sure. And for Chanakya, a content family, that was like heaven on earth.
What did that look like for him?
He believed that if your son is obedient, your wife follows your will, and you're content with the wealth you have, well, then you found heaven right here on earth.
A very specific picture of domestic bliss.
Very specific.
Now, when we talk about his views on women, this is one of those areas where, historical context is absolutely key.
Crucially.
The source itself points out, the modern context is different. But what did he actually say?
Well, according to the text, Chanakya states that women are twice as hungry as men.
Okay.
4 times more shy, 6 times more courageous.
They're courageous. Yeah.
And 8 times more lustful.
Wow, okay. Definitely a perspective from his era reflecting those societal norms.
Absolutely. And you have to read it with that lens. But his insights also went beyond just the immediate family. He actually expanded the whole definition of who deserves our respect, almost like parents.
Really? How so?
He talked about 5 types of fathers. There's your biological father, sure, but also the one who performs your sacred thread ceremony, the one who gives you knowledge.
Like a teacher or a guru.
Exactly. Also, someone who provides you with food and someone who protects you from fear.
That's a broad definition of fatherhood.
It is. And similarly, 5 types of mothers. The king's wife, your guru's wife, a friend's wife, your mother-in-law, and of course your own mother. He says all these people deserve the same kind of respect you'd give your actual parents.
That's a really profound way to think about respect and mentorship, extending it way beyond just blood relations.
It really is.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about wisdom, knowledge, education. This seems like a huge part of Chanakya Neeti, too.
Oh, massive. He had strong views here. For starters, he believed education should only be given to worthy individuals.
Worthy individuals, so kind of selective.
Yeah, it suggests a focus on quality, maybe. Ensuring that knowledge goes where it can be properly used or appreciated.
Interesting. And did he just mean formal schooling?
Not necessarily. He really pushed for continuous learning, lifelong learning. He advised us to read at least 1 verse, half a verse, or even 1 letter daily to make life successful.
Even 1 letter.
Right. It speaks to this idea of consistent effort, small steps every single day, adding up to intellectual growth.
I like that. Very achievable. Now, you mentioned something earlier about his view on true beauty being linked to knowledge. That sounded really interesting.
Yeah, this one really stands out, I think. It totally challenges our modern ideas about beauty.
How do you put it?
He uses this fantastic analogy. He says, a cuckoo's beauty is its voice.
Okay.
A woman's beauty is her devotion. An ugly person's beauty is their knowledge. And a hermit's beauty is their penance.
Wow. So beauty comes from your essential quality, your inner substance, not just your looks or birth.
Precisely. Knowledge makes even an outwardly ugly person beautiful, in his view. And devotion makes a woman beautiful. It's about inner virtues.
That's powerful.
And he didn't stop there. He described knowledge itself in these amazing ways. It's like a wish-fulfilling cow.
Huh?
A mother figure when you're in foreign lands. A hidden treasure.
So it protects and provides.
Exactly. And what makes it unique, he says, is that it cannot be stolen or destroyed and grows by sharing.
Grows by sharing. Unlike money or possessions.
Right. It positions knowledge not just as something you have, but as this endlessly renewable resource. Its value actually increases the more you give it away. Very different from material wealth.
That's a great perspective.
Yeah.
But Chanakya, he didn't exactly hold back when talking about the opposite, right? The lack of knowledge.
No, he certainly didn't pull any punches there. He's very blunt about the burden of ignorance.
What did he say?
Okay, brace yourself for this one. He says, a life without knowledge is as useless as a dog's tail
Uh-oh.
that cannot cover its private parts or protect from mosquitoes.
Wow. That is a remarkably vivid image.
Yeah.
Almost shocking.
It's stark, isn't it? Gets the point across. And then he follows up later with, a mirror is useless to a blind person. Scriptures are useless to a fool.
Meaning the tools are only useful if you have the capacity to use them. Knowledge needs a prepared mind.
Exactly. You need the foundation of learning to understand deeper truths.
Makes sense. But his wisdom wasn't just about books and scriptures, was it? He looked elsewhere, too.
Oh, absolutely. This is where it gets really fascinating, I think. He prescribed practical wisdom by just observing animals, carefully watching them.
Animals? Seriously?
Seriously, he extracted 20 distinct qualities for success from the animal kingdom.
20 qualities. Okay, this sounds amazing. Give me some examples.
All right, so take the lion. From the lion, he teaches, whatever task you take on, big or small, do it with your absolute full strength and effort, total commitment.
Okay, lion-like effort. Got it. What else?
The crane. From the crane, learn to control your senses, focus intently on your goal, and act according to the specific place, time, and your own ability. Very deliberate.
Focus and timing, like a crane hunting. Makes sense.
Then, for resilience and contentment, believe it or not, he looked at the donkey.
The donkey. What can we learn from a donkey?
3 things, actually. Don't care about the burden you carry, don't mind discomfort like cold or heat, and always be content. Find satisfaction where you are.
Huh. That's actually pretty profound. Like an ancient antidote to our modern burnout culture.
Kind of, yeah. Then there are more common animals. The rooster.
Okay, the rooster. Waking up early.
That's one. Wake up early, fight for your livelihood, share your food with relatives, and bravely face an attack if it comes.
Practical daily conduct.
And the crow. Often underestimated, right? But Chanakya saw 5 key strategic lessons there.
From a crow. Like what?
Maintain secret relations, be cunning when needed, gather necessities for emergencies like saving things, always be vigilant, and don't trust anyone easily. Discernment.
Wow, a masterclass in strategy from a crow.
Right. And finally, the dog. 6 lessons here.
Okay, loyalty, I bet.
Loyalty is key, yes. Be loyal to your master. But also, eat a lot, but be content with little food if needed. Sleep soundly, but wake quickly at the slightest sound, and be brave when you have to be. Adaptability and readiness.
Eat a lot, but be content with little. Interesting paradox.
It is. And what's truly remarkable is how he pulls all these observations together, 20 qualities in total from these different animals. He basically says, if you embody these qualities, you'll be victorious in whatever you do.
It's like a whole leadership seminar just based on watching animals.
Pretty much. It's incredibly practical.
So beyond the personal and the practical, Chanakya also had principles for, like, society, governance, harmony.
Definitely. A core principle there is the idea of sacrifice for the greater good, but in circles.
Circles of sacrifice. What does that mean?
He puts it like this. Sacrifice an individual for the family.
Okay.
A family for the village, a village for the country.
Right. Concentric circles of loyalty.
Exactly. And the whole world for self-respect.
So there's a limit. You sacrifice upwards, but never your fundamental integrity or self-respect.
Precisely. It's a hierarchy of responsibility, but with a crucial boundary. The greater good often requires sacrifice, but not at the cost of your core self.
That's a really important distinction. What else for society?
He strongly warns against extremes. Excess is bad, he says simply.
Excess of anything, even good things.
Even good things. He uses historical, mythological examples. Too much beauty led to Sita's abduction. Too much pride caused Ravana's death. Too much generosity got King Bali bound by Vamana.
So even virtues, when taken to the extreme, can lead to downfall. It's a warning against hubris, basically.
Exactly that. A timeless warning.
Interesting. Any other societal principles?
He also advises strategic adaptability. He says, too much straightforwardness is not good.
Don't be too blunt or rigid.
Kind of. His analogy is really vivid. He says, straight trees are cut down first in a forest while crooked ones are left.
So sometimes you need to bend, be flexible, not just charge straight ahead.
Exactly. Know when to adapt your approach. It's crucial for navigating complex situations, personally or politically.
That makes a lot of sense. What about responsibility within society?
He believed deeply in interconnectedness. Karma, responsibility, it all links up.
How so?
He explains that the sin of the subjects falls on the king.
Okay, the leader bears responsibility.
The sin of the king on the priest, the sin of the wife on the husband, and the sin of the student on the guru.
Wow. So it's a chain of responsibility. Leaders, mentors, partners, they share the consequences of those they guide or are connected to.
A profound sense of shared consequence, yeah. It puts a heavy weight on leadership and guidance.
Definitely. Did he talk about power structures in society?
He did, and he saw power manifesting differently depending on your role.
Oh, how do you break that down?
For Brahmins, the intellectuals, the priests' knowledge is power. For kings, rulers, the army is power.
Since military might.
For Vaishyas merchants, farmers' wealth is power. And for Shudras, the service class, their service itself is their power.
That's a fascinating way to structure it.
Yep.
Power isn't just one thing. It depends on your societal function or contribution.
Exactly, a very structured view of influence.
And on wealth itself, you mentioned Vaishyas. Did he have more to say about money?
Yes, strong views on its utility. He famously said, earned money is protected by giving.
Protected by giving. How does that work?
He compares wealth that's just accumulated, hoarded without charity, to stagnant water in a pond.
It becomes foul, useless.
Exactly. It loses its value, its vitality. So it's a clear argument for philanthropy, for circulating resources, keep the energy flowing, essentially. Seems incredibly relevant today, doesn't it?
It really does, especially with modern discussions about wealth inequality and responsibility.
And maybe the most fundamental principle he talked about, underpinning everything else, was the stability of dharma.
Dharma. Righteous conduct, duty.
Yeah, moral duty, ethical living, that whole concept. He argues that while things like wealth, life itself, youth, they're all unstable, transient, they come and go. But only dharma is stable in this moving world. That's what endures. So he urges people to accumulate dharma because death is always near and everything else just fades away. Dharma is your lasting legacy.
Accumulate good deeds, ethical actions, because that's the only thing that truly lasts.
That's the core message there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot. We've taken this comprehensive deep dive into Chanakya's principles, from statecraft to how to test your friends to learning from animals.
Quite a range.
Definitely. So the big question for you, our listener, is how does this ancient wisdom, stuff written centuries ago, actually stay relevant today?
And what's truly amazing, I think, is that it does stay relevant. The source itself points this out. Human nature, our basic motivations, the challenges we face, they remain largely unchanged.
The fundamentals don't really change.
Right. The dynamics of power, ambition, trust, betrayal, the importance of learning these are constants in the human story. That's why his insights still resonate.
Yeah, you can see the practical applications everywhere, can't you? I mean, how can these ancient ideas guide your decisions today? In leadership, personal growth, managing relationships, even just understanding society.
Exactly. It really pushes you to think critically, doesn't it? Comparing the historical context with how you might apply it now.
For sure. What stands out to you personally when you think about these principles enduring for so long?
Well, we've certainly taken a deep dive into this extraordinary wisdom of Acharya Chanakya, from his massive historical impact, literally unifying a nation, to these really profound insights on just navigating life, relationships, society.
Okay, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with one last provocative thought. Something Chanakya himself stated.
Okay.
He said that truth is the greatest dharma. Truth is the foundation of the entire universe.
Truth as the ultimate foundation.
Yeah. So think about our world today. Information is everywhere. It can be murky. Perspectives clash constantly. How does Chanakya's unwavering stance on truth as the absolute bedrock, how does that challenge you to seek it in your own life, in your interactions, personal or professional?
That's a powerful question to end on. And maybe think about which of Chanakya's principles, big or small, you might want to carry forward in your own journey to being perhaps a bit more well-informed and strategic.